Welcome to the show, everybody. It is the Crigler show. It's another week. We got Monday. Today, I don't have any segments because I have a guest. It's been a long time since I've had a guest. I'm very excited to have a guest on. This is someone who hasn't been on my show yet, and I'm very excited to have her on the show. It's a very big pleasure of mine because of the things that she's been through. She's been through a lot, and you're going to hear about it. And she has a really great message. Her name is Lily. Welcome to the show, Lily. It is great to have you. Lily Tang Williams.
Well, hi, Adam. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, of course. So for those who don't know, Lily was actually born in China and has seen firsthand what communism does, the oppression of communism, and the lack of rights that you don't have under a communistic regime. And you speak out a lot about trying to inform the American public because you're in America now. You've been in America for over 30 years, right?
Yes.
And you really have a great message trying to enlighten people on the similarities between what you saw in under Mao in China and what's happening now in the indoctrination and everything. So let's just start by having you tell everybody about what it was like living in China under actual communism.
Well, I was born in Chengdu in Sichuan province. Chengdu is the capital city of the Sichuan province. So I was not in the countryside born as a peasant. My parents both worked for state factories 6 days a week.
Wow.
When people think that, oh yeah, everybody's guaranteed a job, that sounds great, but you must work. You don't have a choice not to work. And you also work the days that they want you to work, which is
Yeah.
6 days a week. They do not want you to have too much, leisure time for other civic activities.
Ah.
So when people don't understand what communism is, especially the young people, that they think it sounds like some utopian, and some people in this country were indoctrinated to believe, oh, that sounds pretty good. Everybody is equal, and you take whatever according to your needs, and the workers rule, the proletarian rule. It just that utopia never existed in
Yeah,
China.
yeah.
Yes,
So,
but
did you get
I
to choose? Did they get to choose where they worked, or were they just told you're working in this factory here?
you normally when you, for example, have a household, every couple, when you get married with permission from the Communist Party, which is one party dictatorship that controls everything.
Yeah.
And under Mao, there was no private company, no private property ownership. So everything belonged to the state. They called the people. So if you live in Chengdu, in this neighborhood, and you actually get your housing, so-called community housing, from your work unit, they all divided people into work unit, which is your employer, which is the government state factory, which is controlled by Communist Party. So my mom, dad worked for state factories in Chengdu, stay in this community housing provided by my dad's state factory. It's very primitive. 8 families live together in this row house, and without plumbing, only share one water faucet, and
Wow.
with 8 families share one bathroom. Imagine that, one big
Eight,
hole
eight
on the
families.
wall with children. Yes, and
Wow.
it's a big it's like a, I would say, 4 feet by 4 feet hole divided at half. So half for males and half for females. And that was the worst nightmare in my childhood memory. It was that bathroom, low lights, because it's a central planning, free community housing. Nobody cares. There's no light bulb. And if you are lucky to have a little flashlight, you can go to use bathroom at night. For a girl, you must find these 2 bricks over the holes where they can squat. You got a
Yeah.
human waist all behind you. If you fall into there, that's my nightmare. And then nobody even can hear you. How disgusting that is, right?
Yeah. I can imagine.
That was awful. So and then the summer it's very stinky. The bugs crawling around, worms, and the peasant will come in to dig them out once every 2 weeks and take to the agriculture field as a fertilizer.
Yeah.
And everybody got a little tiny potty, like a little potty you can buy, put into your apartment. Because if you have to go, you have to go. But there's only one place you can squat to pee
Yeah.
and poo for women. So you just do in your room, then take out later to dump it. That's how we manage. There's a shared one bathroom. So of course we did not know. We were totally lack of information. Was the one party control all the press, all the newspapers, periodicals, textbooks, all the radios. We did not even have a TV. And every day this place we lived is like what you see almost like in those old Nazi movies, right? 6:30 in the morning, you have loudspeakers come on because there was a school. My high school, middle school is right behind the apartment. Say, time to wake up, time to go to work, time to go to school. Then it's bang, 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 bang. It's red songs, music, long live Chamema, all that stuff. And
Wow.
so I had to get up, go to school. My dad had to go to work. So to tell you how much food we're allowed to eat, you would think, hey, if everybody works for government 6 days a week,
Yeah.
that should be plenty of food to eat. For some reason, there was no productivity. We were dirt poor. The government used the food rationing coupons to issue to your family for everything you needed. Okay,
Yeah.
like protein, which is meat and proteins, and the wheat flour, rice, even sugar, and everything needs rationing coupons. So for our family of 5, give you example, we got 2.8 pounds of protein, including all the meat and all the eggs for 1 month.
1 month for the
Yes,
whole family.
yes,
Wow.
yeah. Imagine you eat that for one meal today. And so my most time my memory just hungry. I'm hungry
Yeah.
because when you run out of dry rice, like a rice run out, you start to cook just porridge. Like need 1 cup of rice, get a big pot of water, boil it, then you drink the porridge. But your stomach is still not full, not satisfied because
Yeah.
there's no oil, there's no grease. Bacon fat will be a luxury back then. I mean, I remember when my grandmother babysitted me, my uncle said, hey, there's some rats running around my grandma's community, like courtyard. Let's trap some rats. So he told me to trap rats, and then we were burned, on the fire and suck on the rat meat. But very soon, the rats run out too. Yes. So I feel sorry for the Venezuelan people. I heard they were running cats and dogs out because they were starving. So no
Yeah.
animals to eat after a while. So I
Wow.
mean that's the situation in terms of food. Of course, we will share one water faucet, and if water is out of luck, you cannot cook.
Yeah.
And we burn the black coals to cook. It was horrible, right? I mean, like just that smell and all that. But if your coal happened to be collapsed that day because you forgot to add a coal on top, you cannot cook. And I was the oldest child. I had to babysit for my infant brother because the childcare was not free, like not like what people think what people get free stuff. And so my parents said we cannot afford state childcare costs because your brother is an infant, 1 year old. I was 6. I was begged by my parents to stay home, help them save money by putting off my, schooling and first grade to stay home babysit and
Wow.
bribe me with a movie ticket. I remember it was Romania fighting Nazis. Foreign movie was a high demand, expensive.
Yeah.
So I cried my eyes out because I wanted to go to school so bad. My parents were not educated, illiterate. So I thought in order to change my life, I would really the good education by learning how to read and write, and I have very good memory. I wanted to go to school so bad, but I had to stay home. I was put off for 1 year in order to help my parents. They were always in debt their life in China because they just could never make ends meet. And my dad, the state factory trying to promote him because my dad, was like a very good worker
Yeah.
and a Communist Party member, and to say, hey, we'll promote you, but he cannot read. So, he said, I cannot go to your workers' university because I could not do any of the homework. He would bring homework to me when I was in elementary school to help him. So he
Wow.
finally just gave up to say, okay, I'm just going to be a floor supervisor. I cannot get those higher positions. But the higher positions will give us more food rationing coupons. And he couldn't advance himself. And you would think of the proletarian rule, the workers should get more coupons.
Right.
No, it's the Communist Party officials at the higher up to
Yeah.
get more food rationings. And my neighbor had a milk powder, boiled milk. Oh, smells so wonderful. I was deprived. Milk. This when they were cooking, boiling milk smell just make me want to, drooling. So by the time I finally went to school, and I did great because I was smart and sharp and sociable. Everybody liked me.
And you wanted it.
I wanted that because
Mhm.
it was so fun. Because otherwise, what do you do at home? We didn't have
True.
anything. We didn't own anything. We did not even have a radio. I love to listen to 1 minute classic music between the political news. Politics were in our lives every day, every hour. So if you could take a 1 minute break to listen to this classical music, it was like a sound from heaven.
What kind of music was on the radio that you were able to listen to?
It was a classical music.
Like Beethoven or something?
It was like a piano
Yeah.
and violin. I don't know what would touch my heart. I just feel like my eyes would be watering. I was
Yeah.
so touched. And then only 1 minute we didn't have a radio, so I had to beg my neighbor to lend me a better positioned of official labor to say, can I come in just listen to 1 minute? I promise I'll be quiet. I will not bother you dinner time. It's always dinner time.
Wow.
And so I would listen to 1 minute. I mean, I still love classical music today. But it still makes you wonder why the people who are supposed to be proletarians, workers rule, were at the bottom of the food chain, and today too. So that's the one night I help people realize that they will use the working poor class to get communist leaders or socialist leaders elected.
Yep.
Then they throw you under the bus. Peasants never got land in China.
Yep.
Peasants were getting into people's communes. And then during the Mao's like the great leap forward from 1958 to 1961, estimated 20 million to 40 million Chinese were starving to death. And they never had a museum for those people. And we were not even allowed to ask questions. I did not know they were starving to death because the Mao's failed central planning policies. I was told in China, 3 years natural disasters. And until I come to this country, that's when I realized, oh my God, how many lies actually, I bought into because, we had no free press, free speech, and the world was, totally, shocked to us. And so you just did not know the truth. Party is always right. Whatever party tell you is always truth. So that when I was actually a few years old, that's when Mao's proletarian cultural revolution started in 1966. And the reason he started that, it's because he lost some power after the mass famine. So the party decided to have another guy called Liu Shaoqi to be the China's president. So Mao was not happy about that. He's got a political opponent. He saw them as enemies. So he wanted to regain his power by use the young people, urban youth, college students, and red guards, and basically to say, we got enemies inside of our party. They were the revisionists. And those people were trying to just reboot China's economy so people don't have to starve to death. Of course, I did not know any of that. So Mao started Cultural Revolution. It was 10 years from 66 to 76. I was 2 and to 12. And they, my memory at the beginning, when I was still babysitted by my grandmother,
Yeah.
it was just this red guards, and, in the streets and singing. They were going to see Chairman Mao, and the struggle sessions all over the country, always loudspeakers and music. And one time I saw a military truck were full of red guards with those black class bad guys, I suppose be, and head down. Behind them were PLA soldiers, and they were singing songs, and they were driving through to show off to the neighborhood, to the community. Those bad guys, black classes, were going to be executed.
Wow.
And there was an execution public site in Chengdu, in the suburb. I remember people used to go there as kids to pick up those empty shelves. They were made still from steel, so you can sell to make some money during the big steel production campaign. And my grandmother was also during the struggle session for about 1 year. Because she married to a first husband, was supposed to be classed as a so-called counter-revolutionary because he was killed. He was a mountain law out, in the Sichuan village, it's called outlaw leader.
Wow.
But he was dead. He was killed by his own man. But the government wanted to do investigation to say, was he counter-revolutionary? Because that's one of the Mao's black classes. So if people don't know, it's Mao used Marxism to divide the Chinese people into oppressor versus oppressed groups. And under oppressor group, then you have the rich farmers, landowners, and the counter-revolutionary, bad influencers, and the rightists. It's like, what are those so subjective? Who is going to decide who is bad influencer, right? Or
the government. The government decides.
Yeah, the party.
Yep.
It's all about the party. So party is always right, like 1984. So those are the bad 5 black classes under oppressors. They go through struggle sessions. So my grandmother could be, the black class if her husband was counter-revolutionary, even though he was dead, and she remarried to a red class worker. But my grandmother was
doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter. So they poke her from the back, and every day just ask her to apologize, to confess, to public shaming, all that. And my first traumatic experience was one guy jumped into my grandma's community water well. So they lots of family there share one 20 feet deep water well to get fresh water. We had no water faucet. And so one guy, one day, just floating on top of the water. I was told, there's dead body. Go there, look. And I was so traumatized. I wonder what happened to this guy. He looked like he was dead. His body was floating on top of water. We could not access water for a couple of weeks to disinfect it. Later, my uncle told me he was a black class. He could not handle it anymore. He committed suicide. Oh, it's like this is a typical Cultural Revolution stories. 20 million people died during those violent years, and because they could not handle the pressure, and some were tortured to death, some were turned on by families, and they totally lost purpose, hope in life. Why even live, right? Because now all of a sudden, I'm like a black class, my family suffered. I had to go to struggle sessions. So what I say, the similarities when I talk about today is a critical race theory. So
identity politics.
Yeah. So if you are white and born racist white class today, then you are like the black classes. Kind of interesting versus black and white. And then you go to those similar sessions to get training called DEI now, diversity, including equity and diversity training. But I saw people have to apologize and for being white.
Yeah.
And constantly talk about their what you call you have like a hidden bias, and because this country is a systemic racist country, and you were born white, and you're condemned for your, maybe I even don't know those white people, their ancestors owned slaves or not, right? Because it's like how many years ago that is. So they go through similar, there's a similar tactics and process rituals you go through, self-criticize, self-apologizing,
Yep.
and and other side might want you to do something in order to prove yourself to be less white and all that stuff, like less black. It's so
Coca-Cola.
scary. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened during the Cultural Revolution. I was a child, and those were in my head, and I that's why I decided to say this sounds like Cultural Revolution on American soil.
Yeah.
Of course, the social justice movement has been going on for a while, and talk about this semi quasi religious following of our youth to follow social justice movement. They remind me of Red Guards who were
Yep.
used by Mao to do struggle sessions and to go looting, burning, top down statues, and to make name changes for the streets, for people who want to denounce their families, cut ties. Because let's say if you are 16 years old and your grandparents' family were classified as black class, your life will be hell. And you wanted to cut ties with your family, what do? You go to struggle sessions and you come out to publicly denounce your families. So from now on, I'm not going to use this last name anymore. I'm going to change my last name from Wang to Chen because my families were black classes or counter-revolutionary. I'm cutting tie with them, and they're no longer my families. How
Yeah.
sad is that? How
Very
sad.
sad. Yeah.
Yeah. And some people they turn on their families and they turn them over to Red Guards and watch their families were tortured to death from their eyes. And
I mean, the Democrats feels like the Democrats are basically turning the new Red Guard. They're splitting up all of America. Like if you're a Republican, I use Democrat and Republican because it's the easiest way to just portray most of Americans. I mean, I know that a lot of people are libertarians, but for the sake of argument, it feels like the Democrats are vilifying if you're a Republican, if you voted for Trump, if you are a conservative, suddenly that is the new black class, like you were mentioning.
Right, yeah. So it's identity politics is the hallmark of the Cultural Revolution by Mao.
Yep.
They want you to hate your fellow citizens.
Yes.
They do not instill their hatred into your mind. How are they getting fellow citizens to fight each other? If you live happily together in peace, pursue your own self-interest and happiness, freedom, how are those communists, Marxists achieve their agenda and the dictatorship? They can't.
Right.
So this identity politics, that's the way it is. I just hope people will learn real history. That's always their strategy and tactic: divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer.
That's why I always go out to send unifying messages to all our citizens, parents, teachers, Democrats, Republican, Libertarians. Doesn't matter. We are all American citizens. We have so much more in common. Why do we need to fight each other?
Yes.
Because your yard sign for a political campaign is different from my yard sign.
Yep.
Is that crazy? It happened in New Hampshire. Some of the members will go out
in California right now. They were trying to do a rally for Republicans, and the Democrats are calling them Nazis. Straight up, just for doing a rally for Republicans.
See, those name callings make you wonder, who are the real Nazis? Who's
the real fascists?
Yeah, who are the real fascists?
Yep.
And and people, they say it, so it's so sad.
Yep.
Immigrants like us who survived totalitarian regimes, survived the communists, in our native countries come here just trying to live our American dream. And we are terrified to see what is going on today.
Yep.
Lots of them are still afraid to speak up because they want to go back home to visit family, they want to do business, or they're even worried about their current job hired by American employers could be gone if
Yep.
they speak up. And teachers, how many good conscious teachers are afraid to lose their jobs because the radical left and Marxists are taking over the
Yep.
classrooms and push them down to say, like a NEA, the teachers union,
The teachers union. Yep.
approved. They just approved the curriculum, critical race theory, into 14,000 school districts in the
It's
country.
crazy.
And they budget money to say attack the opponents,
Yep.
including parents' organizations, conservative research centers. Where do they get their funding? Where do they get their curriculum? Why do they hate America so much?
Right.
And why do they want to divide us? Ask those questions. But you know what? That it's becoming absolutely terrifying now. You are not allowed to ask questions on social media. You can get shut down. So if we don't have a free speech anymore, are we still free people and free American? Is this still free country? Can we ask those questions at all? So I'm not afraid, Adam, because I recognized what is going on.
Yep.
And I have lived through it. I have to come out publicly to educate the most of Americans who just don't recognize it, and they are afraid because they are afraid of to be called white racist, and they're especially people who are holding jobs can get canceled. Hey, you can get canceled as artists and a musician if you sing something not in line with today's social justice warriors. They are calling to cancel lots of people, including even Joe Rogan. You know, I don't know when they're gonna go after even Bill Maher, who is a liberal, but he strikes back against those craziness too. It's
True.
so we need actually more and more people come out to not to be afraid, or at least do whatever you can in your own smart way.
Yeah.
But the thing is, so I see the writings on the wall.
Well, you said it actually in a speech. I don't remember what it's from, but you said we need to get into politics, and that's why you actually got into politics, right?
Right. Well, I feel this country is going down since I woke up, 2008.
Wow.
I spent 24 years in China, was totally indoctrinated. I did not have ideology. I just wanted to be left alone by the Communist Party. And because they were telling me what clothes to wear, what hairstyle is politically correct, what curriculum I must use to teach in a university law school as a faculty member, assistant professor, and even to go to my boyfriend's house to have a sleepover before our marriage was criticized by my Communist Party chair in law school.
Wow.
You know, it's like when Mao died when I was 12, that's when I started to ask questions. Imagine when you were indoctrinated for 5 straight years when I was in government school from 7 to 12 and do long liver chant my mom every day, 10,000 years, another 10,000 years, he become my God. Wow. And I did not have a religion. Communism was my religion. All other religions were destroyed. Churches were burned. Buddhist temples were burned.
Well, that sounds familiar.
Yes, I was raised, my grandma, my mom were Buddhist. But if I tell people in school I'm Buddhist, oh no, you cannot wear, the
beads.
Spot. I will be classified maybe as a black child because you don't believe Mao and communism. Instead, you believe in your Buddha. That's no. Yeah, that's totally no. So when he died, I was so depressed. It's like I lost my soul. What should I believe now? So I start to question, who lied to us, our generation. And when Mao was smiling to me from sky, talking to me from the fire, and we write the diaries every night to confess, I was a red child, but we still had to confess to say, did you think about something incorrect today? Okay.
Did you think about something incorrect?
Yes,
Wow.
confess
Wow.
your thoughts. It's not just not speak anymore. Sell your lips. It's confess. Examine your thought, and they're trying to encourage you to tell people, your teachers in your diary, who said what in your neighborhood, who said what in your family. If
Wow.
you were young and naive, you totally believe Mao and Communist Party, you feel like you were doing the right thing.
Yep.
So you do those things. Crime is sometimes when you think about, look back, we were all indoctrinated like little communist slaves, but we did not know. We thought that we were doing the right thing for the country, for our great leader. So when I started dig and start to think, what should I believe now? I decided I'm going to go to best university possible to study law, so I could maybe change China into rule of law instead of rule of man. Because 2 years later, when the party come out to say Mao made a mistake, he was human, okay? He was not God. He made a mistake. 10 years Cultural Revolution was a mistake. Oh my goodness, 10 years. My uncles, 3 uncles were sent to countryside after Mao finished use those Red Guard to gain his absolute power for God status. And the young people were getting violent inside the cities. And Mao took some general suggestion, you gotta get those kids out of cities. He sent them to countryside called Down to the Campaign, re-education campaign by the peasants, pay those Red Guard some salaries. So my uncles, 3 uncles, they had no school to go to anyway. They were excited. Oh, we're gonna get paid money. We're gonna go to countryside, doing manual labor for 10 years. Wow. And they had no diploma, and they had no wives, because they track you by household registration. If you are from Chengdu and you have your personnel file, household registration in Chengdu, but if you go to countryside, date a local girl, marry a local girl, you'll be stuck there with her, with your children. You cannot come back to cities. So all my uncles were single bachelors for all those 10 years because they wanted to come back home in the cities. Their life sucked. It was privileged living conditions. They still had to do political studies, but they worked a long way, carry heavy weights, feeding pigs and do all kind of stuff all the time. There is a movie called Xiu. It was banned in China. Xiu, a beautiful Chengdu girl from her home country, during the Cultural Revolution were sent to countryside near Tibet. I think it might be in Tibet. And she had to hurt herself in order to come home earlier. And she offered herself because she could not come home earlier. She thought that if I just offer myself body to the communist officials, they will allow me to come home. And that did not work. She got even pregnant and had to have abortion, and everybody looked down on her. And she finally decided, ask her host family, a Tibetan man, to say, please do me a favor, hurt me so I can become handicapped. So they will need to leave for home. And because I will no longer be productive or useful as a Red Guard here. And so he, at the beginning, she wanted just to maybe shoot her leg, make her legs broken. But later she changed her mind. And she basically sent a signal to him to say, please, just let me go. Do me a favor. Because her reputation is bad. And she went through those kind of nightmares. She could not see her families go home. So she made herself look very gorgeous and beautiful with her orange, beautiful red scarf, and asked this host family and to shoot her, to kill her. Wow. And this guy actually felt enough for her, even though he's twice of her age, because he was a single man, and he then killed himself. It was a tragedy movie called Xiu.
Who made that movie? Like how was it even made if the government would have definitely banned it?
I think by somebody, I don't know, but it's called a Sandan girl,
Okay.
and Xiu Xiu. And my husband said he even looked a little bit like me, just like a typical Chengdu girl.
Okay.
And it was banned by China, but we could buy the movie. I don't know where it is today, if still it's banned here or not. I don't know, because the CCP is pretty powerful now all over the world. Use the
Yeah.
second largest economy standards to pressure people to say, do you want money? Do you want access to China market? Or you better worry about what movie you make and what
True.
you say. You know, they
Yeah,
tell
we're
us,
seeing that.
they tell social media companies, they tell the press to give them money, give money to school. Remember, Confucius Institute has infiltrated into our, high schools and colleges and gave those school money back. They needed the cash in order for them to take their teachers and their curriculum and ask them to comply with China laws and called learning Chinese language and culture. You think just Chinese language and culture, but the country is one party dictatorship and it was funded by Chinese government.
Yeah.
It's, of course, give me a break, but we have been so naive when it comes to deal with China. We think China enter WTO will become democratic country. It did not happen. The China got worse nowadays, most recent years. But they have the new dream, according to the party, is a China dream. They are
Yep.
going to number one dominant force in China, in the world,
On the
and
planet.
that's why they have a Silk Road initiative. So
Yep.
everybody's going to rely on China, supply chain, money, market, population, and so that imagine what kind of dark world we will be living in if we have this undemocratic, unelected regime to dictate what all the other individuals in other countries should live under.
Yep.
Because our elected politicians have not really kept their faith, their promise to defend U.S. Constitution. So there's something terribly wrong in this country. And our freedom, liberty, rights of free speech, freedom to assemble, freedom to run your own business is all under attack. You saw what happened last year, and you saw the riot lootings on the street. You saw the mobs and cancel culture is going to cancel everybody, but the silenced majorities have not really organized to march peacefully into the street. We were always outnumbered, and it's always a hypocritical politicians to shut us down instead of treat all the citizens really truly have equal protection under the law. No, we don't. Yeah, there's, remember the animal farm, there are always some animals are more equal than the others.
Rules for me, not for thee.
Right.
Yeah, rules for thee, not for me. Right. I got it backwards, but
yeah, but Adam, though, here's a question, $1 million question. Why did American citizens allow their government become tyranny, allow their governors, city mayors, public health officials, bureaucrats, unelected, all become like absolute authorities and gods? We're not supposed to ask questions.
The answer is we're complacent. People got spoiled. Like, we are spoiled in what we have, in our freedoms, so much so that people don't realize that they have those freedoms. They're like, oh yeah, we have these freedoms, all right, next I want to complain about this person looked at me or said something on the internet, or I didn't get my food prepared the right way. Like, I love America, don't get me wrong, but a lot of Americans don't recognize what we have as the freedom of speech that we have, the fact that we aren't oppressed. We get to choose what we want to do for a job. We get to choose what we eat. We get to choose where we live. Like, all these basic freedoms that people, take for granted now. It's just
exactly. But you have to dig why they have become complacent. They become comfortable why their mind lost the rational thinking and the independent thinking skill. It's because we have allowed the government schools to indoctrinate our children for past how many years I even don't know. Since I come to this country, when I woke up 2008, because my husband helped me to read some other books besides believing still the old Chinese government rhetorics and the government do this, government do that. I did not know there's other solutions. The solutions is not government, not a bigger government. The solution is personal responsibility, free market, and the private charity. Help each other, rely on each other in your communities and your fellow citizens. Because why do you think human beings,
right?
If they get into government, then they become like, oh my God, they're just like authorities. They're so smart. They're angels. They have your best interest in heart. If you trust government, you really have not learned much about history.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. A big, powerful government is a threat to
make communities strong again.
You and me, we need to take a personal responsibilities for our lives. When I come to this country, Adam, I did not expect any help. I knew I could not speak English. I knew I was poor with $100 borrowed and had to pay back $1,200 I borrowed from an American sponsor to sponsor me to come to this country. But I thought this is a free country, land of opportunity. If I just work hard, learn English, get my education, and start my business, invest wisely, I will achieve American dream. I did. It took some time, but I did. Look, that's how I came. Nothing. Couldn't even speak English. At the age of almost 24, I'm living American dream today. I have a 3 home business. I raised 3 wonderful children with my husband, who helped me to get rid of my indoctrinated mind, and who told me about, the self-ownership and libertarianism, conservatism, and the Constitution, all that good stuff. And it still took me 20 years to wake up. If we indoctrinate our children today as a social justice warriors from kindergarten, 1st grade, how long will we wake them up? It'd be like me. It's like what happened to me are happening in this country now. Because our kids don't know. Our kids condemn capitalism, profit, how bad capitalism is. They even don't understand what is real free market capitalism. They think
they're upset.
Corporatism is capitalism. It's not.
Corporatism, exactly. That's what really they need to be angry at. But all the people that are in charge are like, no, capitalism. You don't want capitalism. It's like, no, capitalism's good. It's raised more people out of poverty in the past 20 years than all of humanity. Literally all of humanity, the past 15 years. Capitalism, thanks to capitalism.
Well, I think that's part of educational problem in our system right now. They don't teach our students to learn about even economics 101. How are stocks created? How are the wealth created? And why do you deem capitalism when you enjoy your coffee in Starbucks and enjoying your iPhone and iPad and enjoying all those products you volunteered to buy from private companies who provide you those products? Then you're sitting there condemn capitalism. And they also don't understand socialism and communism. So when you ask them, hey, how much more you're willing to pay for taxes out of your part-time paycheck if you're a college student? Nobody wants to pay more taxes.
Right.
But where do they think the government money is going to come from when they're offering free college and free and this or that?
They don't think, Lily. Come on. That's the problem.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Our educational system needs radical reforms. We need more homeschoolers, school choice. Even charter schools better. And also that private schools, private market, we need all that, because after last year, when the teachers union in Los Angeles come out to say, you have to give us this much money, otherwise we're not going to open school. We need to fight for equity.
Yep.
People even don't know those terms, like equity is a Marxist term, because how do you have equity, equal outcomes when you don't use government force to force redistribution of wealth?
Yep.
That's a Marxist term. That's communism in America. But the people are so prominent every day, including our corporations. We're going to support equity. This world has gone nuts. It's upside down. Black is white, white is black. And the right is wrong, wrong is right. And the people are just, I think, confused. So I'm trying to get immigrants like me to speak up, to say, we recognize it. We know what's going on. We need more of us to come out to get our stories, messages out, to defend our American dream. We don't have a place to go. We don't have a place to go if we lose this country, no matter how imperfect this country is with its history, with the current system. But just like you and me, we are humans. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I cannot even agree with my husband 100%. We don't agree with each other. But can we have respectful discussion and sit down like this, just offer our solutions, but respectfully disagree and have discussion about that? What's wrong with that? Why do we have to condemn another side? Like you condemn 50% of the population by critical race theory, because, you know, I think it's still about 55 to 60% of white people. And how are you going to tell me to say, really, those white people are racist? Okay, my husband's white. His entire family are white. About 40 family members in my extended, loving American family. They open up their arms to me, welcome me to join their family, big family. And we have 3 biracial children. How do you expect me to buy into America is a systemic racist country? Oh, I'm living American dream. How did I achieve that? By being from another country, own nothing. I did not even own myself in China. Now I own so much. I want to give back to the country. And I'm thankful, feel blessed. And now I'm supposed to, as an agent, to come out condemn the country and condemn my relatives who are white. Is that crazy, Adam?
Yeah.
It's not, right?
It's crazy.
So how come our people don't think about that? It's like, why our young people hold, like Antifa people, they march, they hold the communist leaders' big, portraits and the communist flags. Do they even know they are the first one will be thrown under the bus if we really become a communist country? Just look at China. In communist China, do you think people can have the freedom to go out march in Tiananmen Square? Oh no! Ever since 1989, the Tiananmen massacre, nobody can go to Tiananmen Square, have a gathering unless it's government approved.
Right. You can't even show that picture in China now.
Yeah, no, it's censored. It's a censored internet buzzword. You cannot Google Tiananmen Square, June 4th, Falun Gong, cultural genocide, and organ harvesting, and even Winnie the Pooh.
I know. Yeah.
And China has
but it's scary.
But the Chinese government, CCP, has authority to lecture United States about human rights, racial justice, and telling Americans who were racist country, killing local people. How many people died under a communist regime? And they were their own people, Chinese, same culture, speak same language. Like a public estimate, 60 million people died under CCP's boots and iron fist. Oh, our media don't even ask that. Don't even ask them that. And the Chinese government knows that's our racial tension is a weak link of our society. They know that. And they want to fully take advantage of that to advance their agenda. And they have about 35,000 spies in this country, plus millions of people they employ online called the 50 Cent, Wu Mao armies who troll internet. That's how I got trolled on internet, how I got attacked, and I have to ban them because they just come attack me, and they threaten me. I cannot even go home.
Are you afraid? Are you afraid of like people coming after you from the CCP?
Well, I got threatened already on my Facebook page, Lily for Liberty, and now I have somebody even also on Twitter, and I'm not even that famous yet. Wait until I'm even more famous. They told me 2019, don't go home. I have extended family in China. I cannot go home. I don't want to disappear. I would rather to be effectively speak the truth. In this country, all my Chinese friends who love this country tell me, you need to focus on save America. We cannot save China, but
save America.
If we cannot save America, where do we go? We have no place to go. Plus, they're already here. I have this Chinese man who told me he went to Chinese jail for 7 years. He just become political refugee, permanent resident here. Like recently, he been only to this country for 2 years. But because he will not be quiet, he continued to get the Chinese press interviews, get on TV. They're trying to kill him in California.
Wow.
They're trying to threaten him in New York. And when he drives around the country, why could those people be so brave, break the law, and to go after their former nationals? How come Americans cannot even go to China? Be doing anything? Look, they shut down Hong Kong, Apple Daily on June 30th. A Chinese man who escaped communist country for Hong Kong and become entrepreneur. The Jamie Nye started Apple Daily, the truly free newspaper in Hong Kong for 20-something, 6 years.
Yep.
They freeze his assets because national security passed. So he was put into jail. They froze his assets. He cannot have money to buy ink, to pay staff. He had to shut down. So sad and tragic that the world is infiltrated by CCP, and they just like mafia to threat people all over the world. And if you go to Australia, New Zealand, UK, Canada, and EU and America, they are everywhere. And our press media, I don't know where are the conscious, good traditional classic liberals, reports, journalists.
Yep.
Go after them. Because if you allow our country to become a communist China, guess what? You'll be required to get a license to practice journalism, like in China today. You will get censorship, loyalty test, study sheets, read little app to become reporter. Do you want that?
No.
But why are you always cheerleaders for tyrants in this country who are socialism sympathizers, who tell Cuba refugees, you cannot come to this country because, that maybe they're sympathizing with regime, a communist regime in Cuba. Our country is at crisis moment.
Yes,
this
it is.
Censorship, big tech, big government in bed together. It's very, very dangerous. And they'll continue to do so. And there will be a tremendous fight, or I would call that cultural war, around the critical race theory. You have Black Lives Matter supply the curriculum to Teachers Union, NEA, and then NEA push that down on all their teachers. 80% of teachers in this country belong to the NEA, and order them to teach this, even though state laws in some states to say you cannot teach this. And
14 states.
Yes.
And they're still pushing it.
So they're going to rather break the law, and they don't care. So those teachers, I know some of them even signed the pledge to say they're willing to go to jail, but they want to teach CRT.
Yep. Well, because they've been convinced that it's some virtuous thing to do. Like you were explaining about the Red Guard, like they were convinced that it was the right thing to do. Like it was, you're supposed to do this because this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the virtuous way. This is our purpose. These people have no purpose anymore. And now they've convinced them that their purpose is to teach critical race theory.
Well, I think they just really are used. Most people are not our enemies. Okay,
Right.
our enemies are the 1% of the political ruling class, elitist,
Yep.
globalist, who trying to put the chains on our necks, and
Yep.
we don't know what their faces are sometimes. But our young people, our teachers, our reporters, our artists, so-called, lots of Democrats still are convinced to vote for them, support them, and because they don't know, they truly believe, oh, they have some kind of moral justification for doing this, and
Yeah.
they don't understand what the truly freedom is. And they were indoctrinated by the mainstream media, social media every day on their little phone, and now they are indoctrinated to believe that you got to wear a mask, you got to take a vaccine, otherwise you're killing people. If you love freedom, you're right one nut. And if
Yeah.
you want to exercise personal choice, personal freedom, and you are selfish, you're killing people. Oh, I'm still waiting that people are gonna come out, probably trying to dismiss my story as eyewitness of communism,
Yeah.
and to call me, maybe I am the racist too in their
I'm
eyes.
sure they
Yeah,
will.
isn't that crazy?
Yep.
We need a lot more classic liberals to speak up.
Classic liberals, right.
Classic liberals, including some Democrats, call them that. I don't say ACLU coming up to, remember Democrats used to say, my body, my choice, or
Yeah.
whatever. But when it comes to masks and the vaccines, no longer, they don't say that anymore. It's
Right.
for good, for public good. So do you understand? When you support this kind of rhetoric and ideology and regime, you are empowering dictators, fascists in the near future in our country. They're
Yep.
going to come after you and throw you under the bus, just like Mao did to all those Red Guards. How did they try to even come back to cities? Not voluntarily, allowed by the government. They planned a mass suicide, lay their bodies on the railway track to say, let us come back to our homes in cities. Otherwise, we're going to let the train run over. We're going to kill ourselves. We are suffering. We have no purpose in life. And there's no hope if you don't let us come home. So
Wow.
finally, they start to come home. And those are the people who are 60-some years old, but some of them are still cheering for the party. That tells you how powerful the government propaganda is.
Yep.
The Chinese government control all the corporations, all the technologies, all the resources, and basically control all the media, all the press, all the classrooms and curriculums. So
Yep.
lots of Chinese don't realize what is really going on their soil. If you live in cities, your life is better. So you are saying kumbaya to the party. But lots of people in the countryside, their life is still very poor.
Yeah.
And the cultural genocide committed by the CCP is happening in Xinjiang. The organ harvesting of Falun Gong's practitioners are happening in China delighted. And I recently heard this doctor who finally come out to say he took the organs from those people who were executed, immediately took them to inside of a white like medical car to take their organs.
Wow.
And the reason he did that, he had no problem because he was told those are the bad enemies of our state.
Right.
You don't have to feel guilty to take their organs. They give them a shot first. And the same thing for the prison of conscience. If you are in the China's black prisons where you don't have a trial, you disappeared from your family, nobody knows where you are, and they been kept fit, alive, and healthy people, that when they're ready for your organs, they give you a shot and they take your organs, they sell for $170K to $200,000 for each kidney and each liver, and to make huge amount of money. Where do China get those organs? Chinese don't have a culture for organs donations. So there's evidence. More and more people are waking up to the regime that it's crime, criminals against humanity. But however, we continue to be bullied by them, and we continue to let them to have their press here. You know, the China Daily used to be passed around with other American newspapers by paying them money to go to each politician's desk in Washington, D.C. That's great. Chinese propaganda go to our elected politicians in Washington, D.C. as an insert.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know that.
Yes, you can Google it. Chinese propaganda insert going to the elected congressmen.
Wow.
And I think they were trying to take some step against that. And so lots of, I have a libertarian friend tell me, Lily, we got to worry about American. What Beijing do is their business. We don't want to interfere. And, you know, they're not threats to my liberties. Are you kidding me? You have not been paying attention.
Right.
They are here. They are threats to our individual freedom liberties.
Absolutely.
And they might have funded lots of last years indirectly the riots. What do you think about that?
I think so.
You know,
I definitely think that they had something to do with it. I mean, the Chinese government spent over $8 million in media and ads up like 7 months prior to the election, pretty much during the summertime of 2020. It's like, why are we letting them spend money in our media anyway? Period.
And why were we censored by posting, have a question about potential lab leak of a virus?
Right.
And it was, remember, it was false information, misinformation. And they will flag you, fact check you, and shut you down. And
they did it to me. They deleted some of my videos because I was questioning.
Yeah, but now, so we were right. So they shut down people were right. And now they're trying to shut down other people today talking about vaccines. They might be also proving to be right. Don't you think it's weird? The more they push hard on this to people, the more make people not trust.
Yeah. I mean, look at France right now. Look at Ireland. Like, these people are in the streets marching against this. I mean, the UK just admitted that they're going to do passports also. And it's like, people don't want that. They you know,
communists will take communist playbooks.
Yep.
Adam, I made a YouTube video.
Yep.
Back in March or April, talk about vaccine passport be like China's social credit system.
Yeah.
You put a little QR code on your cell phone, everything will be tracked.
Yeah.
And the people were buying to that. It's like 1984. You want to live in 1984? People who never read that book should go read that book.
Yeah.
And the China's social credit system is just like our old-fashioned style of national ID called a household registration and personnel file system that track you. There's no place in China you can live off the grid. There are 300 million public security facial recognition cameras all over the country. And pretty soon it will be 600 million. I guess when you go to China, you can be watched. They scan your face when you enter the border, and with this cell phone social credit system, also vaccine passport. They want you to put your vaccine.
TikTok.
Passport. Yeah, TikTok is don't use it. Get rid of from your app. And the WeChat, get rid of it. But our young people, just like they just don't know.
They don't know. They're clueless.
So we have to fight vaccine passport. That's the bottom line. That's our human freedom, privacy.
Agreed.
At stake. All classic liberals, some Democrats out there, I'm talking to you. If you don't come out against the vaccine passport, I don't know what to say to you. And you have no civil liberties, no privacy left. You will live in a totalitarian country very soon, where you still can fight it, where you still can march to the street, protest peacefully, where you still can say something on your blog, say it. Otherwise, you know what? In China today, you cannot do any of those things. And you will be just very happy. You think you're still supporting regime, and we are happy, we're great.
Yeah.
They always throw you some bones to say, oh, your life is good. Then you don't complain. Well, guess what?
You will own nothing and you will be happy. That's the
Yeah.
motto of the Great Reset. That sounds just like what they're trying to do.
We are human beings. We deserve better. We have a human dignity, pride. Yep. We are entitled to those constitutional rights. Nobody should take them away. They are given to us by our Creator, not by you politicians, not by you the bureaucrats, not by you big tech CEOs. So why can't we speak up?
You've dropped so much fire tonight. We've just gone over an hour. I mean, we could just. I feel like you could keep going. I really want to get into some super chats. We got a lot of super chats, a lot of questions. Thank you. Seriously, wow.
Last question. Do you want me to answer some of those questions?
Yeah. Well, I want to get into it because a lot of people have been saying some stuff and probably chiming into the different conversations that we've been having. But seriously, though, before we get into the super chats, I just want to say again, thank you very much for joining me on my show tonight. You are in a unique position to have witnessed and lived under communism and what it really is, and see the similarities of what's going on in America. And I mean, people who have been listening to my show tonight should be afraid that because it is true that it is coming here. No, excuse me, it is here. They're here. They are trying to take over. They're trying to undermine our freedoms. This is something that I've it's been an underlying conversation of something that I've been talking about for a long time now, because I see it as well. And your story, it's the reason why I wanted you on my show, is because this is what people need to hear. Someone who's actually lived it, someone who's seen it and connects the dots. Here's this dot, here's this dot. It's the same dot.
I love young people, Adam, because young people in this country today remind me of my past. I don't care, young people, who you support, what ideology you have. I just want to have conversations. I want you to know my stories. So you keep something in your back of your head, be able to think that what I said, to verify if that's true or not. Do your own research. And don't let other people control your mind. Self-censorship, enslavement includes mind control. The chains around your mind, on your head. That's what happened to us, to all the Chinese, even today, still in that country, who have no access to internet. So bring some questions. There's no PC here.
Yep. All right, let's go. First, we got Robert Shaw says, F Bezos. That's Bezos from Amazon. Robert Wild says, have a blessed soul, blessed day, and blessed life doing what you love and chat. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Mark Robershaw says, lockdowns are here and it's a mess. Who can stay open? Who is closed? All tradies are angry. All constructions has stopped. Mark Robershaw lives in Australia, which, Australia is crazy. I don't know. I thought about this earlier when you mentioned about needing a press pass in China. That's actually happening in Australia right now. The police are basically saying who can and cannot be official press, right? So if you're official press, you could go out and interview people. And there's this guy Avi who is one of the most legitimate journalists that I know. He's getting out there. He's super knowledgeable, and cops get in his face. He knows all the laws. He gets right back and says, I know the laws. Here's exactly the laws. And then the cops are eventually like, all right, you can go along on your business, because they're just trying to control. It's all about control.
CCP has infiltrated into Australia.
Oh, I'm sure.
When
that
the
doesn't
Hong
surprise
Kong
me.
protests happened, the people who supported in Hong Kong, in Australia, will have a counter strike from pro-Beijing supporters, organized by Chinese consulate and funded by Chinese consulate with uniforms, flags, and also same young people. Did you say that? All over the world. That they also pay money to somebody like you to say, hey, Adam, we're going to pay you to become internet, social media YouTubers for us and make China look good. There are a few There are quite a few all over the world. I don't know all of them, but be aware when somebody is trying to make China look good, make a Chinese party look good, and totally ignore their human rights abuses and cultural genocide and organ harvesting, shutting down the religious and freedom. Be aware who they are and follow the money. They don't mind spend tons of money on overseas in order to corrupt the government and corrupt the press so they can get what they want, which is to control the world.
Yep, exactly.
So sad to see.
Robert Weil says, well, I tried to copy a pre-message and was late on my first one. They gonna make a pregnant man emoji. Then I should get, hey, throwing a fake leg emoji. It's got to be fair, right? Interesting. Yeah, they're making like an emoji on the phone. They're making a pregnant man. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Robert Shaw says, turn your leg into a keg. You won't regret it. Okay. Robert Wiles has a removable leg, just to fill you in on my chat.
Okay.
Robert Shaw says, easy to beat the overpriced bozo over at venues. Robert Shaw says, if you were Lieutenant Dan, you could be a zombie. All right. Robert Shaw's talking to Robert Wiles, I'm assuming. So despite it being a lockdown, the liquor stores are open. I bought some rum, tropical mango, pineapple rum, and I have to say it's nice, very nice. All right, Robert Shaw, at least you can get your alcohol. That's interesting.
So government will decide what is essential, what is not. Our freedom is not essential, but you have a freedom to get drunk, intoxicated, and abuse drugs. Yeah. And more and more negative side of lockdown will come out. The suicide attempt and
30
the suicide
not
rate.
Attempts, 30% rise in suicides in America. 30%. It's crazy.
And how about other people who died because they're so afraid of COVID? Hospital were shut for them. They don't want to go to hospital. So all those people with other heart medical conditions delay their treatment, delay their therapies. And there are lots of mental health issues come out, and people cannot get enough mental health psychologists, therapists to see them. Even on Zoom, they're like way behind. Our kids. Think about our kids who have the lowest risk and against, like the hospitalization, COVID infections, and they were shut down schools. And who get hurt most? It's the poor people and minority, even some immigrants' children whose parents cannot help them much at home for online schooling. So then how about those people you claim to trying to help? I mean, I understand COVID is real. And it's a personal, responsibility and the choice to decide how you're going to deal with. But the people who were just, forcefully and shut down by the local government and public health officials, unelected, do not allow second opinions. I have seen lots of doctors got shut down their opinions. So only now approved government opinion information.
Yep.
It's true.
Sounds like Marxism.
How dangerous is that? Sounds like communist China, right?
Yeah, it does.
They're going to knock on your doors and take you away. I have seen that people who have parties at home get arrested.
Yep.
And the neighbors will call to say, see, why are Americans so afraid? All they have to do, now China knows, all they have to do, release another COVID is even more deadly than this. The whole world will shut down, and the whole U.S. economy or liberty will shut down. How dangerous is that?
That's a frightening premise. That's a frightening premise.
Well, you got to let people to make their choices by having all the information in front of them, by analyzing the data, facts, to decide for themselves. If you're high risk, you stay home or get a vaccine. And if you're not, you try to be careful and practice good hygiene. And there's so much we can do, but they always talk down on us as we are some kind of country pumpkin peasants who don't know anything.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, Lily, I gotta say, I've already gotten strikes on my channel for asking these questions. Even this conversation right now, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, do I need to worry about what we're even talking about? And that sucks. That's the environment that we live in right now, where I'm like, man, I can't even, we can't even have an open conversation about this subject without me having a little trigger warning in the back of my head going, YouTube might, give me another strike, and then I wouldn't be able to stream for another 2 weeks. It's like, it sucks.
I
And that's
know.
where we're
And
at right now.
the thing is, I'm terrified. I think that I couldn't sleep last year.
Yeah.
Because I recognize all this. And at beginning, I was also scared too, don't know what's going on. But I do listen to Chinese TV and the news all the time. I always kind of wonder why the US government, the world government in Western democracy countries will go after Chinese hardcore communist style lockdowns, all because of public health, all because use that magic words or give them unlimited emergency powers.
Emergency powers, yep.
Like all they have to do is just scare you, make you live in fear. Well, if everybody's dying around me, I will stay home too. I will do whatever to be safe. But they say there are lots of data, lots of facts. We need to have different opinions to talk about those.
I agree.
And you cannot truly just single-sided. And only the official government data, facts, information are the real. It's like, are we all becoming just like people who are not capable of rational thinking and reasoning? It's if we all really become like that, it's very sad, because that's how you empower the tyrants take over the country. Then they're going to shut down more. All the people who listen to them, trust them, you think you're going to get a pass once they take over? No, your life will be miserable. Lots of people will die under that kind of system. That's why I want to warn people. We need to be Americans. We are not that kind of people living in totalitarian countries where we just totally scared to death about even asking questions and speaking up.
Yep.
That's what Americans means. Americans have the fundamental values I admire, adored when I first choose to come to this country instead of go to Europe. We have a constitutional right. We have this rights that cannot be taken away by any government officials, private companies, your neighbors, nobody, because those rights come with God.
Yep.
That how does that resonate with people who constantly trust the government? Do your own research and be kind to your neighbors.
Yep.
And let's have conversations, help each other. Chinese have a famous saying to say, the family far away is actually not as helpful as neighbors next door. When some crisis situation, hits, hey, they're next door, right? They can give you stuff, help immediately. But now we have neighbors like a cultural revolution to turn on each other.
Yep. Robert Wiles in chat just said she is more American than these haters on the left, and I agree. Like your vibe, self accountability, working your butt off to give yourself a life that you want, that you earned. So you earned this life that you have, and that's American. Like, you have those rights to be free to do what you want, and you've earned it. That's American right there.
Because I know what means to lose freedom.
True.
You cannot have enough food. This tie-dye shirt I wear today, no, banned during the Cultural Revolution, and the dating banned, and real freedom to draw pictures, sing songs banned. Everything has to be politically correct. Everything has to be in line with the dictators and with those Marxists and communists who want you to obey, no questions asked. But obey. Glorious cause. Oh, you got, this is our public security, public health. Those are like number one cause for you to obey. I live in a state called live free or die. When every person has one life to live, do I want to live, continue like a little Marxist communist slave? Or
Nope.
I already left that behind, come to a free country and live. I thought I left them behind, but they're here. I'm not going to comply with that. If I die standing up. I die as a free person.
God,
How
Lily.
is that?
Based. That's what I want to say right now. Like your energy, your fire, your passion is needed. We need more people like you, Lily. The people need to recognize what you're saying. And I want more people to look. If you guys are watching the show right now, if you're out there, share this video. All right. I ask sometimes to share my videos. Sometimes I forget. This conversation, this knowledge that Lily has here is so important to get out there to the world, to understand the differences, the similarities that she's lived. All right. This is the kind of this passion that she has. I mean, we need that passion, that fear that she has, that's rational because she's lived it and she knows what she's about to lose. If this whole plan that they have comes to fruition, we got to stop it. So please share this video. Please go follow Lily. She is fighting. I've just found, you know what? I just found out about you maybe a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And I mean, you're just an inspiration, you know, because you're what you've been through, what you're doing now. You are fighting for America because America took you in and you earned it and you earned your place. And I totally understand. You don't want to lose it. So I really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Adam. I have a Facebook page, Lily for Liberty. If you have questions for me.
Down below.
Yeah, Lily for Liberty. And I have a Twitter, Lily for Liberty.
Down below.
I have a YouTube channel, Lily Tang Williams.
Down below.
If you share, please, and share, and subscribe, because I don't want to get canceled. I feel passionate about liberty. I feel this is my duty as an American citizen by choice to speak the truth. If I cannot manage my fear, let this country become my old native country I left behind. I cannot die peacefully even. So I'm going to fight. I have been fighting for several years, but mostly as an educator, as a speaker. And so I wish you the best luck and the health and the peace. And we'll be in touch soon. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Lily. All right, we have lots of super chats still to go over. I just had to say that. Sleazy says, dealing with work, can't watch live, just want to send support. Thank you, Sleazy. Appreciate you. Fantastic Mr. Knox says, oh, yay, I saw Gothic's interview with Lily, and it's very informative. People need to pay attention to this lady who lived through it. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, Gothic and I had about, this similar conversation too.
Yeah, Gothic's is great. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, the more people that get your message, the merrier. Lionheart says, great evening to the both of you. Lily, please tell these individuals in America the truth about the evil that is communism. I fear my country has started down a path we won't be able to turn back from. I don't think it's too late. I don't think it's too late.
It's not too late. We still have ourselves, our fellow citizens who think similar-minded. We need to organize effectively. We need to form coalitions. We need to show up at our local school board meetings and town hall meetings, because politics is local. And we still have our Second Amendment. Do not ever compromise on that, because that is going to guarantee that our last resort. I don't want people just try to have bloodshed, right? I don't want to have a war. But the same is so, hold on to your guns and prepare for the worst. But before that, get activated, speak up where you still can. And talk about it, trying to win neighbors, when your friends who are still justice warriors, get them to listen to my story. I have another interview coming out about, an interview with a former social justice warrior who woke up after 20 years of brainwashing. So let's have a conversation, because We are not each other's enemies, American citizens. We are human beings who have so much in common in the world. We want to live in peace, health, and happiness. And we don't want to fight each other. Go focus on your, like target. Somebody else who wants to enslave you. I don't want to enslave you. I want best for you. And Americans who will come into this country and never discriminate against me. Don't let those political radical left use you to achieve their agenda by calling other people racist, or by saying you are oppressed and you are people of color. They never talk about why some people of color are not doing well in this country. We should have serious solutions and conversations about that. But instead, they want you to blame the other people and blame the history, blame the American system that is fundamentally still good system. Otherwise, why do you explain millions immigrants from all over the world want to come to this country?
Yeah,
and they cannot come in. They cannot get in unless you go to southern border and mix with other.
Unless you're a Democrat.
Yes, unless they want you to come in and put you in different states, and so you can vote for them. They're not open the door to the anti-communism freedom fighters in Cuba. So they're choosing picking. So if you think Democrats are the only party care about immigrants, think again.
Agreed.
It's a pick and choose their kind. So as
rules
Americans, do we have something saying about our country? How many immigrants we want and what kind of immigrants we want? It's like we have no input. We have no input. And if you say anything, oh, you are racist. You don't want those people come in. But how come you don't want the Cuban refugees to come in? Are you racist? You are racist if you don't want those freedom fighters to come in.
They are racist.
The name calling goes both ways. It's not helpful at all, actually.
Yep.
So it's sad to say there's people, they're hurting. The Cuba protest got arrested. Guess what? China had a similar protest, will be crushed. I think they have a small group protest like that. You will never even hear a report about it unless it's underground channel videos come out. I saw some, but not as big as Cuban ones get on national TV or something. But there are some, but people are still being silenced.
Yeah, it's sad.
What other chats do you have?
You got to get up. You got to get out there. Be part of the conversation. Run for office. Get into your communities.
Yes, and talk to your neighbors. Talk to your community people, and don't let the politics divide us. Don't let the family members hate each other.
Yes,
and your family members temporarily don't understand you. Just be there for them when they wake up. Yep. Be there for your families and friends when they have questions, when they want to wake up.
I love it.
We need to be united. We don't want to, throw them out there and because they want to, hate you. So you have to show a little bit more room, more tolerance. But remember, people are our kind. We know the truth. So we need to have compassion for those people who don't know the truth, who have not wake up yet. They are the victims of the indoctrination. So they're not bad people. So we need to be there for them.
I love it. Robert Shaw says, you can make anything sound good, but implementing it is completely different. The idea that we can all truly equal is nothing but a fantasy. That's basically describing equity because it's not, it's a fantasy.
The communists in Cambodia wanted to truly equal outcome. So if you wear glasses, Adam, you are not the same as other people who don't wear glasses. You'll be killed because you wear glasses. You look different because they want everybody to look the same, have the same height. So should we all go to play basketball now? And because you gotta have equity. You have
it's
a representation of some Asians and some blacks and some Latinos all go play NBA. Of course, this country is based on individual merits.
Exactly. Meritocracy. Bring that back.
If you don't have that, how boring this world will be. You're
I
gonna
know.
get a mediocre of everybody, actor, athletes, and all kind of professionals out there, all are so bad, so boring.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why sometimes I feel like I even don't want to watch some sports movies anymore because
Same.
and the comedies, can they still poke around social justice warriors? Are they
Nope.
allowed to poke around politicians and some so-called national figures?
Only if they're Democrats.
In China, you cannot have a political comedy because they will throw you in jail if you mock
I'm
any
sure.
political
Yep.
leaders. But
Lily,
for the
I gotta say, my mom just chat. I see her in chat. She just said, "Wow, this woman is amazing." So that's from my
oh,
mother. My mother just said
thank you, mother. Thank
that
you.
you're amazing. I had to just tell you.
Well, I hope everybody will go out and tell people about me. I will get on some. I did get on Fox News twice already. Very
Nice.
short time as immigrant. I had an interview with Joe Pax. I had an interview with Matt KB recently. But I need to go to get my voice out to the freedom lovers all over
Yes.
the world.
All right,
All over the
chat.
world.
I'm about to post an article that Lily wrote for a local paper. I've just posted it into chat right now. This is from the Standard. I think they just they took the words from the local paper that she wrote this for, but it's a great summary about what is it called? It is Chinese immigrants' personal warning on critical race theory, and you break it down perfectly. It's not very long. It's something that people can send to other people that really basically sums up what we've talked about today in a nice easy article to read. So I just posted that in chat. Feel free to post this video too if people want to watch this and get some of her passion, because clearly you're very passionate about this, and it is very it's what is the term? Refreshing. Honestly, it's refreshing to feel someone like you that is not defeated. You're impassioned to help, and that's amazing. We need more people like that.
Because I was silenced for 24 years. I did not have freedom for 24 years. I don't want to lose my liberty in this country. And I see people take their freedom in this country for granted. And they condemn the America who opened arms to welcome me, and the country who enabled me to achieve prosperity and live in my dream. And they condemn all those white people, neighbors. I have friends from all walks of life. How could they condemn certain groups to accuse them? I feel like I have the obligation to come out, defend my American dream, and defend this great country, and defend all the American citizens who open up, to welcome me. They're not my enemies, and they are not oppressors. I'm not oppressed in this country. I'm very happy. And the fact I can have interview with you and talk like this because I am American citizen in this country. If I was still in China today, I will go straight to jail and disappear. I might even not have a trial at all.
Yep. Well, thank you. Thank you for doing that. All right, we got lots of super chats. We got to dig into them here. Oh my goodness, so many. Thank you guys all for your support. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Remember to share this video. Of all my videos, I feel like this is one of the most important ones to share because America needs this conversation. Fantastic Mr. Knox says, happy to trade Hong Kong and Cubans who want freedom for those latte liberals who preach communism. Right. Hong Kong's
everybody love that trade, but how do you make that happen?
I know.
How do you make that happen? Our kids don't know. I think the good conversation with those young people to say, which country would you like to go to that practice your socialism or whatever you want to have in America? And if they don't cannot name the country, or they do name a country, to say, hey, I'm going to buy you a ticket to go travel there, live there for 6 months, say what they say, they
don't want that.
If you don't have a comparison, they just don't know.
They have no idea.
Yeah, their parents somehow also, our schools all should be responsible for young adults today. who really don't know the history,
True. Lauren says, God bless her and the message she has for the world. I hope your worlds and experience can help change the world for the better. Said it perfectly, Lawrence.
Thank you. I'm very happy in this country. I'm just very concerned and very worried. I'm very energetic, very passionate because I cannot help it. You can feel like passion is contagious, because I want to warn people, don't lose your freedom. It might take you forever lifetime to get that back, or might never get that back.
Right, exactly. I'll Butter Your Muffin says, those weren't looters in the Floyd riots. They were FBWT, I don't exactly know, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, fact checkers the price. Apparently things were free at the time. Yeah, those riots were something sad. Now South Africa, the riots are crazy right now. Versified says Black Rifle Coffee did something stupid. See the quarterings video. I know all about it. I'm probably going to talk about it tomorrow because I've had a crazy say. I don't know if you know this. I have my own coffee company called Crigler Coffee. Really good coffee, and Black Rifle Coffee basically shot themselves in the foot. And a lot of people on Twitter, and I appreciate all of you out there that have done this, have been sharing Crigler Coffee because it's owned by me, and I don't have the same views as Black Rifle Coffee. So, but Versified continues, says, so get Crigler Coffee for pure, great tasting coffee without the woke. Very true.
Yeah, we need to walk with our money and with our feet. So
True.
If we want to support good causes and companies who are not work side, then we need to decide where we're going to spend our money.
True that.
And we have to be very anxious to do that. Sometimes we just don't know, is this company? Because I know some mentioned I know I heard about this, Black Rifle Coffee, and it's like it's like lots of corporations kowtow to China, and lots of corporations kowtow to work class. So the justice warriors and media, it's just like if everybody just want to make money, put money, profit making above their universal human rights values, it's tragic. Because no matter how much money you have, Adam, if you don't have freedom, you cannot keep your money. True. Look at all the billionaires in China. They can fine you. They can break your company down. They can march the Communist Party committee on site into your company, and they can force you retire, sell your company. They can delist your company. They can just
take your company, can't they?
Yeah, they can just confiscate someday. And they do right now today, because China is actually and not as crazy as during the Mao's Cultural Revolution, just nationalize everything. Then China today, I would not say it's a communist country, even though they have a communist party dictatorship, but they are a fascist country, because the fascists, they allow you to have private property, private companies, but you have to be controlled by them. And if you don't,
that's important.
Control. Then
that's important, though.
Stuff.
What you just said, though, that people need to understand, they're not even just a communist country; they're a fascist country. That's infiltrating everywhere. Like these Antifa types.
Listening, China is a fascist country. If you're the anti-fascist group, you should be anti-China instead of hold China's Communist Party flags or Soviet Union flags. How come people don't understand the Nazi Party? Were the National Socialist Party of Germany, and all those communists, Marxists, Nazis, they are same collectivist groups, and you were singled out. Oh, we were anti-Nazis. Lots of young people, when I go and talk to them, they have no clue. More people died under CCP, the communist regime, than what Hitler killed. Kids are always like, really, we did not know. Lots of teachers also don't know. So we need to study. We need to educate. How teachers were trained. The teachers were trained not, real history. How are they going to teach our kids in classrooms? If you can, pull your kids out of public schools, indoctrination camps, homeschool.
Yes, they are. I'm going to homeschool my kids.
Exercise is first choice now. Yeah, so.
All right, Lily, I have a lot of super chats and I'm going over time. So I got to get, I'm just going to blast some of these super chats out. All right.
Yeah, just you want to ask me a question about China.
Okay. Robert Wild says, we Americans were given our freedom. We didn't fight for it. She has a blessed soul and knows what it's like with no freedom. Be blessed, you both. Thank you, Robert. Robert Shaw says, and yet the people in the West cry about being poor and sad about the hard life they have in the West. When people live like this under China, wow. Right, exactly. People don't know. Lawrence says, we need people like her teaching the youth about their experience in the world. Exactly. Share this video, please. And follow her. Follow Lily down below. It's her Facebook, her Twitter, and her YouTube. Please go subscribe, follow, all of the things over on all of her channels down below. Joe Biden's Dentures says, been leaving adverts for Crigler Coffee in the comments of every video about Black Rifle Coffee going woke. Hope business booms. Thank you. That's nice of you. I appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Quantum Football says, how do we know that Lily isn't one of the 2 million CCP plants who are pretending to be on our side? Really? Did you listen to the show at all tonight?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I have ever asked that question before, except my husband at the beginning, he always wondering, are you spy? That's his fantasy.
Yeah. I see what you did there. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you've been listening, she's very clearly not for China. I have a feeling even the spies wouldn't go that far.
I'm for Chinese people who are actually enslaved by a one-party dictatorship, by Communist Party.
Yep.
I fascist. I love Chinese culture. I miss my family, friends. I love Chinese people. But love your people and country is different from love your government and your party. Can people tell the difference?
Yes. Thank you.
Right.
Sebastian says, remember when they said they're the resistance? My body, my rights, no war. Look who's appropriating culture now. We'll get through this with love. Right? Yeah. Love of the people, not the government.
Love. No hate, because the communist Marxists want people to hate. We want people to love each other more.
Yep. Robert Shaw says, how weak and pathetic is your ideology when you need to slaughter anyone who simply argues about it, and yet so many people think it's a good idea? I know, right? They're trying to get us to hate. Don't hate, just love. Mark G says, do you think communism, once established in a nation, can be beaten by rhetoric, or can it be removed by unfortunate bloodshed? That's a good question. I mean,
CCP has been powerful 100 years now. I mean, like in China, ruling China, PRC now is a 70 years old country.
True.
After they got Taiwan, real Republic of China, to retreat to Taiwan, and it's not even recognized by lots of countries in this world as an independent country. So
now we have celebrities like John Cena, the White House, who are apologizing for saying Taiwan is a country, for having the Taiwanese flag on like a different fly list. The White House, I don't know if you saw this. The White House did a tweet where they had a Taiwanese flag, and they were like, "Oh, sorry, that went out by mistake. We deleted it and put up a new tweet without
Taiwan
the Taiwan."
Is the living example for all the Chinese in the world to say Chinese people are capable of democracy.
Yep.
And the freedom and the prosperity. Don't buy into the rhetoric. Oh, if Chinese people have democracy, voting rights, gun rights, China will complete collapse. That's the party talking point. It's beneficial to them to have their people mind control, to believe only the government. So I would love to visit Taiwan someday. And too bad I cannot even go to Hong Kong anymore. I lived in Hong Kong with my husband and 2 sons.
Yep.
during the like they handing over to British time from 1996 to 98. I loved Hong Kong, one of the most free markets in the world, entrepreneur place, wonderful people, and no
Yep.
sales tax and flat income tax. All that good stuff is gone under the CCP, national security law. You cannot even go there as foreigners now without
It
feeling
sucks.
to be threatened. Oh,
I would be afraid to go to China, no joke, because
yeah.
I've
They
been
can
very.
arrest you. They can
Oh, I'm
arrest you.
sure. I'm sure they would, because I've been very vocal online for the past year about what China's doing. So I
Yeah.
probably shouldn't go to China.
No.
Mark Robershaw says, so the CCP are the Goa'uld, which is a Stargate thing. Okay. Trisha's healthy appetite says, a question for Lily. What can we do? The Chinese are still indoctrinated to this day. So what can we US or citizens do to keep our country from becoming China? Well, I guess US. So I think it's the US. It doesn't show me in the super chats what flag that is, but it's citizens.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll just say whatever country it is that is on its way. What do we do? What would be your suggestion?
Well, that politics is local. So if you are suspicious there are some Chinese spies in your state, and your state is using taxpayers' money doing business with the Chinese Communist Party, or even the military-related companies, and then you need to let your state representative who represent you know to say, I do not support that. We don't want to support a regime with our money and invest in their companies to oppress their people, and most important, to keep our rights and liberties in our country. You need to be a freedom fighter on the ground. Show up to your local meetings. And if
Yes.
you are parents, it's so critical now for you to know what your school are teaching your children.
Yep.
If you don't have option to homeschool them, send them to private school and other schools, because you cannot afford to, then you need to get involved with your local school board meetings. They control the curriculum supposed to be, and they also hire the superintendent, and the superintendent that knows what the schools, teachers, situations, hold them accountable. This is our country. That's what's supposed to be a constitutional republic if you can keep it. If you're complacent and passive and lazy, not informed, not keep your head in the sand, how do you keep your constitutional republic? You're gonna become like the People's Republic of US, like my native country. So, and also, as I said, talk to your family members, your neighbors, be there for them. Don't condemn them, demonize them. Just have conversations and share information, because you need to pull them close to you instead push them away to another side.
Yep.
If they go to dark side and we are outnumbered by the dark side, that's not good for our country, for our communities. And we don't want to turn them into state agents like I was, brainwashed to turn on your neighbors and turn on your families. So we can do whatever we can. Most important, keep yourself informed, knows what's going on, speak the truth in an effective, smart way to
Yep.
wake up people who have
Yeah.
not had a chance.
That's important. Having the knowledge, being informed yourself, so that when you're having these conversations with people, you have correct knowledge to like bring to the table, and have a conversation that isn't about emotions. A lot of people get emotional, and they're that defense mechanism triggers, so they go
They're
into
not
this.
listening to you. You cannot get angry. If you get
Right.
angry, they're not listening to you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So you gotta remain calm, and
Right.
and in a place of love, and caring, because as soon as you lose that, they're always teetering on the edge of going right into the emotional side of things. So as soon as it goes there, it's like there is no more conversation, and it's a shame.
Blow up. Our whole thing just, they just turn away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sebastian says the CCP is a lie. Republic of China will overcome. Wouldn't that be amazing? West
Well,
Taiwan comes back.
I have seen some countries are brave to, pick up Taiwan and to do trade with Taiwan to have a diplomatic relations. But U.S. did throw Taiwan under the bus in the 70s. That
Yeah.
Carter basically cut diplomatic relationship with Taiwan. Only admit China is the only legitimate country and allow China to be part of the 5 United Nations Security Councils, and they are on the Human Rights Council too. So who
I
is
know,
going to
that's
question
sickening.
China on its human rights abuses?
That's
China now
that's a whole
is a lot
nother
more
conversation.
powerful with money, with market, with economical deals. They can even lure you in and with all kinds of promise and offer sweet hard deals to your family members related to our elected politicians. So always be very, very aware. Who are you voting for? Who is sympathetic toward China? Whose families are taking money and doing business with China? I suggest people only to trade, have a business relationships with the private small companies in China, which I support because those people are the victims. They have to go through all the red tapes to do little business at the mercy of the government to exist. But if you're dealing with some huge government bureaucracy and have some deals with them, you are sitting out because those people are using money they make to empower their absolutely monstrous machine to control their own people and control the world. It will affect us, even in the United States too.
True. Yep. Got to be aware. Sejong says that CCP has threatened to start World War III if Japan lifts even a single finger to help Taiwan when they invade to take over the island. Called Japan Exception. I mean, are they? That wouldn't surprise me if they go to invade Taiwan.
Well, that we don't know because the threat is always there, and Japan did say they want to help Taiwan. Japan knows what China is capable of.
Yeah.
And two-country relationship has been just always kind of like a tense in the past, and but we will say because Taiwan used to be part of Japan. Taiwan was a colony of Japan. So a lot of people in Taiwan even speak some Japanese because of that history. So now, if Taiwan people feel helpless, if we don't have a strong international support, even moral support, and even in terms of economical support, then Japan they don't want China's next door take over Taiwan next to them. So we need, as the Western democracy countries, we need to build aging country alliances to help Taiwan with Japan, with South Korea, with Singapore. We have to build alliances with India. India is having border conflict with China.
True.
And Malaysia, and there are lots of countries out there are scared of China. And North Korea exists actually with China's support. So there's lots of geopolitical situations out there, and we need to pay attention and to in a smart way and use as much diplomatic relationships we have to build alliances. And we just cannot be naive, just let China running around, and we need to have an effective way to use the right language, right strategies to contain China's power expansion, but to support our allies in that region.
Yep. Wise words. You have so much to offer, Lily. Let's see. The next one. Robert Shaw says, we made CCP strong by selling out manufacturing. Ain't that the truth? Mark G says, cough. Soviet professors in America, cough. Yuri Bezmenov is right. Mr. Paul R. became a member. Thank you very much, Mr. Paul R. And then you upgraded it. Thank you so much for your support monthly. I really do appreciate that. Normally, I have a bell that I would ring for my new members. But if you are a member, please spin the UFO in chat. I have custom emotes. Please do that. Robert Shaw says, stop buying from Chinese sweatshops. I try to avoid made in China as much as I can. Boxer Tales says, I have watched day one from that one show. One of your best shows, Adam. Love your work and coffee. Thank you very much, Boxer Tales. I agree. This is whether it's my best show or not, it's definitely one of the most important shows because of the information that Lily has brought forward. A lot of people need to hear this conversation and the information that Lily brings forward. So Robert Shaw says, wow, wow, wow. I'm perfectly flawed. Thank you. All right. Makeshift Electric says, thanks for playing a big role in waking me up last year, Adam. Someone should make a parody video called Jackass White House Edition with Biden played by Johnny Knoxville wearing an old man mask. That would be funny. And you're welcome. Thank you for being a part of me waking you up, I guess, also, because, I wouldn't be doing the show if it wasn't for all of you showing up for me. And thank you for that huge super chat. I really appreciate your support. Fantastic Mr. Knox says, I can't go back to Hong Kong where I was born because of my views. I would either be told to leave or be interrogated. So I have no choice but to never go back. Oh, that really sucks. Hopefully that will change one day. I don't know if it will, but
apply for political refugee status. I don't know where you are, but trying to find the help to stay, not to go back, because your political views can affect you, security, your safety when you return.
Well, hopefully, yeah.
Can you still see me, because it's getting really dark here now?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. You look great. So the light is.
How do you have a light then? Is that like the StreamYard has light?
I have my own studio lights for my studio.
So I'm gonna use your studio light.
Your face is probably lit up from the computer screen, but it still looks. You still look fine from my view.
Yeah, I probably have to go pretty soon. It's dark here.
I know. I have so many super chats. I just want to let me just keep reading them through. So, Robert Shaw says China is going to for a culture video. Lily, if you need to go, please, you can absolutely get out of here. I've got a lot of super chats to read.
How do I get out? I have never been in somebody's studio and leave by myself. How do I get out? Can you?
All right. Look. If you're gonna get out of here, I want to give you the camera for a second, just the screen all to yourself, to tell people how to follow you, what you're up to right now. Just give a little bit of a send off for yourself, and just tell people how to follow you on your adventures. Okay.
So that I have a Lily for Liberty as my Facebook page. I have almost 20,000 likes. I hope you all share and like. And if you have questions, you can private message me there, and or recommend me to some other groups and schools if they want to hear my stories. And they can book me. I have Twitter, Lily for Liberty, where Adam and I follow each other. My YouTube channel, it's Lily Tang Williams. I have a small following right now. Subscribers is only 4,000. So I need a lot of people to help me to subscribe and share my videos there. I have been doing this for a while. You can see my videos have lots of interviews, even a couple minutes speaking to students online to tell them what life is like under a communist, regime. So I appreciate your time here. Most importantly, I'm fellow American citizen by choice. I love this country. I feel it's my duty, my mission to keep this country as a truly a free country, and still that shining city on the hill attract freedom lovers to come to this world. If we let this country become a socialist Marxist country ruling by tyrants, the world will be a very dark place, and we have no place to go. I'm going to fight here, and until I die, I hope you will join me too. Thank you very much, and have a good night.
Thank you very much, Lily. I'm going to stay on and read the super chats. Thank you for joining me. Thank you very much. It was very enlightening. I'll send you out. I appreciate you. Down at the bottom, there's a little X that says "Leave Studio." You can just click that.
It's the first time. Okay, thanks, Adam. It's been fun.
Thank you, Lily.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you, and you too. All right, everybody. Wow, what a firecracker, man! The passion that woman has for America is incredible. And I mean, how inspiring is that? This is the passion that we need. This is the passion that we have to instill in our youth to show them what we're fighting for. Why we want to conserve the values that America has, because we are free here. People are free. American citizens are able to speak their mind, wear what they want, do what they want. It's an amazing place. These people have no clue. Antifa, BLM, Democrats, I mean, they're all wrapped in this bundle of they're the oppressed, they're the victims. No, they're not. And people like Lily really give a good perspective on, that whole story. It's amazing. So, all right, I'm going to continue reading all your super chats. You guys there's a bunch of super chats. Unfortunately, she had to go. So any questions for her will be, she's going to be, I'll tell her to go watch all the super chats when she gets the chance. Let's see here. Lawrence says this woman is amazing. I agree 100%. Robert Shaw says, Lily, they don't murder, they Epstein people instead. Yeah. He continues, humans are resources for the CCP to use. Simple. Oh, very sad. Angela says, if you want to crush wokeness, pull your kids out of school. Schools get paid per butt in a seat. Watch how fast they about face when they lose money. Exactly. I have zero interest in putting my kids in any sort of public school environment. Robert Shaw says, question for Lily, how strong is the CCP's hold on China? I mean, from what I've gathered, fairly strong. Sebastian says, Lily, I'm glad you overcame. Sending love to you. Josiah says, this was very inspiring. God bless you, Lily. Give me liberty or give me death. We need more people in our government. Thank you for fighting for USA. I'm going to tell her to come read these. Unfortunately, she had to go. Robert Shaw says, Hong Kong is gone. Tibet is gone. Taiwan will go. India will be next. Philippines will fall. Japan will fall. Indonesia will fall. All peacefully. Sure. Robert Shaw, that's a terrible future you just ascribe to. I don't agree. M. Powell says, hi, Adam. Question for Lily. Why do you think conservatives and centrists don't protest, sit in, block traffic, etc., like the left/commies? I got an answer. They're working. They're busy working. That's it. I honestly feel like Lily had to go, so she, can't answer. But I think that's really what it is. People are busy working. Like these people, these leftists that are blocking streets, that are out protesting or looting or burning things down, they don't have a purpose. They don't have a job. Or if they do, it's part-time and they're living at their parents' or, obviously I'm jumping to assumptions here, but that's what I think it is. Robert Shaw says, it's worse than you think, Lily. They literally own the land here. They own one of the biggest ports here. Our politicians sold us out under our noses. That is a shame. And China's doing that all across this globe, too. Robert Shaw says they limited public transport to restrict movement. This only leads to more packed public transit. Cops pay fines. The cops fine people for no masks. QR codes. Yep, it's scary. The first few super chats are always trash, not gonna lie. That's not always true, Robert Shaw. Get out of here. Deborah says, what do you think that China unleashed, or do you think that China unleashed the virus, possibly with the blessing of the US to hurt Trump and the world at large to weaken us? That is a loaded question, and I don't know. It maybe, and frighteningly maybe, is how I'm going to answer that. David says, how can you be a skater and not talk about Tony Hawk coming out of retirement? Well, today was not a normal segment thing. I mean, I know that he came and did a run. I don't know if he's, ever actually retire, but I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about it on another time. Actually, you know what? I could take these off because I don't have to hear anybody. So let's see here. DJ says today's show makes me feel optimistic. Oh, thank you. That's honestly what I would like to do on my show is make people feel better, happy, optimistic. Um, if I could do that, I've succeeded. Justina, thank you for that super chat. That little Bravo Fox, cute. Bam behind the screen says it hurts knowing so many people who will complain about our situation, but aren't willing to speak against it openly. Thanks for sharing your story, Lily. Robert Shaw says, "Oops, forgot you got to wear a mask when you exercise. You can't see anyone being vaccinated means nothing. Still restricted. They don't mention age in the ICU." Robert Shaw says, "I love the fire in Lily. So much fire. She really does have so much passion and just fire for America. Like, that's what we need. We got to inspire more fire." I'll butter your muffin says, "I'm American with American privilege. My race, my colors, American. My ethnicity, American. My culture, American. My best life, American. I am American." Wonderful. Doesn't matter what skin color you got. Doesn't matter. Exactly. Your color is American. I love that. Chris Holmes says, "I'm glad you found her. She needs to go public." I know. I don't know how I was. Why did I find her? I was on Twitter and someone posted a clip of an interview of, or no, she was speaking at some event, and she had a quick rundown of some of the things she went through, and I was like, wow, like I need to get this girl on my show because she's amazing. So Casperi says, "Great guest. Lily should run for office. In fact, she did run." And you can go follow her because she's got a lot to offer. So go click on down below. It's her 3: Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Definitely go follow her. She's got lots to offer. Robert just says, "I forgot we don't let our own citizens back in, but rich mofo celebrities are red carpeted in our government is trash already sold, and I want guns." Man, I feel bad for you down there, Robert Shaw. Shanjak says, "Great show, heavily suppressed. View should be quadruple. YouTube sucks." Well, thank you, Shanjak. Look, just share the video. I mean, if you guys really want this message to be heard, please share this video. I think this is maybe like the most important video to be shared because I had a worry last year before the election. I was like, honestly, if Biden wins, it feels like it'll set in motion a chain of events that will allow China to take over the world. And I kind of said it as like, I fear that could happen. And the more I am learning, the more I know about China's, I mean, they came out and said like, no one better come get in between us and Taiwan because we're going to go for them. It's like, what? You're basically telling the world you're going to invade another country, and it's kind of messed up. It's crazy. So thank you. It wouldn't be surprising if my show was being suppressed because I do speak out against a lot of things that they don't like me talking about. Lev says, "Go Lily, coming from the USSR. I'm grateful being an American. By the way, Adam, please check email on Break the Rules invite. Plus, would love to have Lily on." Right on. Yeah, Lily's fantastic. Reach out to her. Down below is her social medias. It was very easy. I just sent her a message on Twitter. She got back to me right away and said, "Let's do this." She was like, "Yeah, let's go tomorrow." And I was like, "Actually, I'm not having guests on." This was back when I still had 2 strikes, so I couldn't risk it. Rickard says, "Countries and systems are connecting, becoming one. We better understand what system we want before it's too late. Thank you for saving the earth, both." Thank you, Rickard. I appreciate those kind words. Robert Shaw says, "Well, true communism hasn't been done properly." Right. Sorry, so many super chats. I am selfish. Robert Shaw, I don't say sorry for super chatting me. I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I appreciate you a lot. Fantastic Mr. Knox says, to answer Lily's questioning, I've long since left Hong Kong and have lived in Australia for 30 plus years. I've been vocal about what's going on in my own way. Right on. Mazo says, Japan fall. We will make Nanking look like a picnic. Sorry, I can't try not to swear, but for now, words don't turn them into actions. CCP something something caged lion. Yeah, I'm sure. Right. There's some incredible stories of Japanese like military fighting for years and years. I don't know. Caged lion. I feel ya. Robert Shaw says, I hope they love Japan. They have Gundams after all. Sejong says, California Secretary of State disqualified Larry Elder from the recall with a BS claim he failed to meet qualifications. Are you kidding me? That pisses me off because Larry Elder, oh man, I don't know anything about that, but that's going to piss me off. It does piss me off because I really was rooting for Larry Elder, and it seems like a lot of people were. That's ridiculous. I'd love to hear you cover this. Well, I definitely want to talk about that. Mark G says, experts say that communism is great. If you disagree, Siberia is a lovely place in the winter. Robert Shaw says, Lily left because I super chat too much. Well, no. It was getting dark for her, and I didn't want to keep her. She is a fantastic woman, and I really do appreciate it. Lily, if you are watching the super chats, thank you for coming on my show, and thank you all for showing up and watching. This was a very important episode, and I really appreciate Lily coming on and telling her story. She has so much more. There was a part of she was just going, and I didn't want to stop her because she had so much to offer and to express. She was telling me, or in one of her speeches that I watched, she was talking about how in China, there was an American foreign exchange student who had a pocket constitution and a Bill of Rights, and he showed it to her when he was in China. So she read it in her early 20s before she came to America. And she was saying like, wow, there's a place that you have rights. You can be free. You have freedom of speech, and it's protected. And that's something we need to cherish more. We need to be able to be proud of America. And these a-holes want to convince people that it's not worth saving, that we need to dismantle it somehow. And they're crazy. So thank you for tuning in today, guys. Robert Shaw says, oh, I was first again today. Yes, you were. And now you're last. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you all. Thank you very much. I will be back tomorrow, the normal time, 6:30 here on The Crigler Show. You guys have a great night. Good night.